Hi, welcome to the Leader's Edge. How to sharpen your command, make a positive impact as a leader in your organization and community. I'm Emily, and this is Georgia. We are leadership coaches and hosts of this show. And today we are joined by Shawn Moses, the new country CEO. TT morning is standing out as a leader, and we thought have been the perfect leader to share on standing out and to offer some practical advice from his experience in leadership and his own career growth. So, welcome, Shawn. Before we jump into Shawn, George, awareness on this topic of standing out.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Good morning. And for those of you who are brave enough to join us at 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, welcome to you. I tell you, Shawn is the bravest man because he is our first guest on the Leader's Edge. And as Emily said, we're talking about standing out. Before we talk to Shawn, I'd love for you to think about standing out. How do you feel about standing out? How do you embrace it? Do you like it? Do you think about it? Do you cringe from standing out? Do you want to always be on the wall, that wallflower? Or do you want people to notice you? And either way you think about it, think about the impact on you. Think about the impact on your relationships. What does standing out mean to you? And what we want you to do is to become aware of your thoughts and your feelings around standing out, because that's what's going to make a difference for you. And so, as we're talking about standing out, this gentleman has been standing out very recently. And he is Shawn Moses, as Emily said to you. And Shawn, we're going to bring you right on stage now for you to share your experience. What has caused you to stand out?
Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Georgia. Good morning, viewers, listeners. Thank you very much for having me on the program. I didn't know I was the first guest, so I'm privileged. I'm honored by this privilege. But before I jump into that specific question about standing out, which I think it's a key part along your career, I think it would be important for me to set some context around what has really helped me throughout my career in leadership roles. And I think just as organizations would usually establish their core values, I personally sat and thought through what I wanted my core values to be. And I came up with three items. I mean, everyone will be different, but these three items were extremely important to me. The first core value that I developed or decided upon was integrity. I saw my name as the most important asset as I go through life, not just through my career, through life. Integrity in all your actions, all your decisions would be extremely important. In addition to that, I selected respect for the individual. I thought no matter who I interacted with throughout my career, throughout my life, I had to interact with them with a certain level of respect, no matter where they stand. And finally, fairness. For me, any decision that I make, I must be able to look at it in retrospect and say, yes, that was a fair decision. Regardless of friendship, regardless of anything, the decision must be a fair one. And as a leader, those core values have really guided me in everything that I have done. And I honestly am clear that when I sat down and came up with those core values and started to live by those core values, that was exactly when my career started to skyrocket. Now, coming specific to the question about standing out is extremely important. I know some of us don't like the limelight, don't like the spotlight, and it's difficult for all of us, no matter what, right? But how I personally stood out, at least how I believe I stood out, was that throughout my career, my work ethic and drive, I was driven to deliver results. And I think that really helped me build that reputation throughout my career. So because I was so driven, because I really had to get it done no matter what, put in the extra hours, go the extra mile, I just needed to ensure that when I said I was going to do something, I delivered. And because of that approach to my entire career, I started to see managers calling for Shawn. They said, yes, we have this opportunity. We would like Shawn to come into our unit and really put his mark on the role. So as I started to deliver those results, it really aided me in terms of progression. And I think execution is extremely important for us, right? So there's the final point. I wouldn't be too long, right? But we all are extremely familiar with these 100+ slide decks with so many different initiatives that we would want to execute upon. And we easily get overwhelmed with this laundry list of items that we need to attempt to complete. I am a firm believer when it comes to execution, sometimes less is more. Sometimes you identify two, three items that you know you can deliver upon, and then you give it your all and ensure that you deliver on these items, because it's very easy to sit on the fence, and sitting on the fence gets you nowhere. So you identify these few initiatives and you plan, identify, devil is in the detail, right? So identify the details and execute on these items, and you will see very quickly you will put yourself ahead of many of your peers and competitors in terms of being able to deliver. So those are some quick items in terms of how I believe I would have been able to stand out over the last couple of years in my career.
Thank you, Shawn. I think all listeners and our viewers are getting some gold this morning. So you're saying as an individual, you had set certain things for yourself, certain values, and that's integrity, respect, and fairness. We want to throw that out to
Yes.
our listeners and those who are watching. That's maybe somewhere you want to start. Start thinking about your own personal values that may help you to stand out. And you talk about driving for and that 100 deck presentation. We're starting a campaign this morning, right, Shawn? Ban 100 pages of PowerPoint and get right down to
Correct.
action. Emily, let's talk about that.
Yes, absolutely. Get so stuck in analysis, right? Analyzing, and trying to figure out best move to actually make any moves. So if we don't take actions, we're not going to see what the results are like, and we have to be much more agile. We have to take the risk, do the action, and see the result, and make a shift if it doesn't work. I think a great there, Shawn, in terms of standing out too. If you have a reputation of delivering results and executing, then I think naturally you will progress with more responsibility if that is your goal. So absolutely agree, Shawn.
Yes, yes.
So yeah,
Maybe Shawn will want to help us. So, Shawn, talk to those who are watching and listening. What would be your advice for them if they want to stand out? So, separate and apart from what you have done.
My advice to you is just get in the trenches, put in the work. Nothing comes easily, right? We all look at persons that have been successful and we don't know what they have gone through to get where they have gotten to. So for me, let's not be afraid to get in the trenches. Let's just start, put in the work. Hard work will bring the results no matter what field you're in, no matter what you're trying to achieve. You can't expect it to come easily. Let's just do the work and be comfortable with doing the work and be comfortable, as Emily said. It may not always go our way, but it's important that we put in the effort and pivot as needed. But we can't just sit on the sidelines. We have to be in the game and we have to put in the work and the effort. So that's my advice to everyone.
Thank you, Shawn. We have seen and heard of leaders who stood out for the wrong reasons. And when I look at your values, Shawn, we have seen leaders who have stood out because they're not fair. They're not fair to people. We have seen leaders who stood out because there's a lack of integrity. And we have also seen leaders who stood out because they're disrespectful. So when we flip all of those to what you have said, it's perfect. If you really want to stand out in a positive way, those three values will hold you in good stead. Emily, let's get your take on it.
absolutely. So I'm guys, and I know we said we want to keep this short and we don't want to take up all of Shawn's time on a month. So I wanted to just extend our thanks now to Shawn for joining us, for sharing on these this important topic. I'm sure a lot of us who are looking on today or looking at their career progression and what they want to achieve for themselves. Some good takeaways from Shawn. Coming back to values, we actually spoke a lot about values last week when we talked about setting yourself up for success. And now Shawn is actually doubling down. We asked him about starting out, and he started with his values.
Yes.
Georgia pointed out the importance because you don't want to stand out for the reasons, right? So think about how you are standing out. That's also important. And execute. Take some advice, Shawn. The only way that you can actually see somebody's value, because we all want to add value in the workplace in order to make an impact, a positive, and doing things to make that impact. So that is my wrap up in terms of where we are. Again, wanting to extend thanks to Shawn on behalf of Georgia and myself, saying this was great. Thank you, Shawn, for being our first guest. And leave us a comment. You have a comment from myself, Shawn, or Georgia. You could just tag us online. Ask us a question. We'll be happy to answer. So don't be shy about this. This is important. This is growth and development. So take advantage. Take action.
Good. So see you, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Thanks again, Shawn, and all the best.
Thank you, ladies. Bye. Have a great one.
Take care.